Now I'm going to discuss some of the challenges with being a freelancer so that you realistically know that there are some negatives to it and so that you're prepared for that. One, you have to do all your own marketing and selling. You have to be a really good salesperson and actually enjoy selling. So you got to learn how to enjoy it, you got to learn how to do it, and you got to accept the fact that you're now a marketer the rest of your life. And if you don't learn how to sell and network, then you don't have clients and you don't make money. So that's part of that. You have to do your own accounting. Until you're earning enough where you can hire an accountant, you got to learn some accounting principles. The next thing is that it can be unpredictable at first while you're still learning how to create that stability. So while you're still on the learning curve, it can be unpredictable. But then once you gain the skills you need, it can be very predictable and stable. The next negative is that you don't get paid for vacations. You don't have paid holidays and paid vacations. So you have to put money aside in savings to fund your own vacation time and to pay for holidays. And until you create multiple sources of income where you're not always trading time for money in your business, you are having to just save up money for paying yourself to take time off. The next thing is that you have to be more diligent with your money and keep track of it to every cent to be able to plan ahead, even more so than as an employee, because you never know when you're going to hit a dip in that income. And so you have to really, really be planning ahead. And next, you have to be a self-starter, and you have to be really, really great with somebody else not giving you tasks. You have to figure out how to decide on what tasks are going to be most effective for you and be able to hold yourself accountable to that. To me, I see that as a pro. I love being able to do that, but to some people that overwhelms them. And next, you have to pay for your own insurance. You have to pay for private health insurance, and you have to figure out ways of building up your own retirement. You're not going to have a company matching your 401k. Now, there are many, many, many ways to build wealth outside of the normal corporate retirement structure that are actually way better ways of building wealth, but you have to learn all of that. You're going to have to spend some time getting educated on how to build a retirement and build wealth and make the right investments so that you do have a retirement, and it's a different approach. The next thing is that you don't have a standard guaranteed paycheck, even with long-term clients, because they can always let you go very easily. It's a lot harder to fire an employee. And so it's never guaranteed. Now, I have systems and formulas for helping you develop a lot more stability where you never dip below a certain amount in income, and it might fluctuate, but at least your expenses and your living is always being covered. But still, there's no guarantee that you're going to get a certain amount every 2 weeks. The next thing is that you must be very disciplined with your time, or you can get very behind, and you can also not fulfill your promises to clients. And so you have to have a much higher level of time management skills than you even would in a normal job. And so that can be a con for some people, that they're overwhelmed by having to gain those skills. I loved being able to gain those time management skills because of my why. I loved having more flexibility over my time. But for some people, that can be overwhelming to have to be much more disciplined with their time. And also, your personal life needs to be in order, or it will affect your business. Your personal life will always affect your job, wherever it is or whatever it is. But as a business owner and as a freelancer, it affects it even more. And then also, it takes up space in your office at home, so you got to have more space at home to have your own office. And if you have kids, you have a higher chance of getting distracted. And so you have to set a lot more boundaries and rules with your family if you're working at home, and that can be a negative that you're having to do that. I've created a system that works really well, that it doesn't interfere with my family relationships, and we have boundaries set, but there's just a learning curve to that. An additional challenge to being a freelancer is that you must be very driven to be able to keep doing something consistently for a long period of time before seeing big results, which means you need to have patience. The minute you start doing the right things, you'll start seeing some level of results, but you have to consistently keep doing things so that eventually the compound effect kicks in, and before you know it, you start generating a lot bigger results, and then things become easier and easier. But you have to be willing to push through that period of time, which there is no standard period of time. It might be several months, it might be 2 or 3 years, it might be a few weeks. It all depends on what you're doing and who you are and what your goals are on how long it takes to get to specific results. But so you're gonna have to be very good at being consistent and have your why in place so that you continue to have the motivation you need to have to keep doing things even if it's not bringing immediate results. The next challenge is that you need to be able to handle rejection and disappointment really well and get back on your feet very quickly. The freelancers that fail are the ones who, the second they get rejected by a potential client, or the second they get disappointed by not achieving a certain goal by a certain time or not getting a specific result, they get so disappointed that they just give up. And so you need to be very good with being able to absorb and process through the emotion that comes from disappointment and rejection, and know how to journal your way through that and process through it very quickly so you can get back on your feet and keep moving forward, and take that failure as feedback. Take that rejection and that disappointment as feedback for what do you need to change, what do you need to continue doing, what do you need to stop doing, and what could you do differently. Just take that failure as a learning moment to figure out what you need to do differently next time when you get on a call with a potential client. And the next challenge is that you need to be okay with not getting a ton of support from family and friends that don't understand self-employment as a credible option. For a long time, a lot of people thought of being self-employed as something you do in between jobs. You just got laid off, and so you're going to go get some freelance work until you find another job. But get this, 40% of the workforce by 2020 will be freelancers. 40%. Within 8 years, more than half of the workforce will be freelancers, which means freelancing is no longer that thing that people do between jobs. It is a legitimate career, lifetime career. More and more businesses are wanting to hire freelancers because it actually saves them money in the long run. Freelancers tend to be more of an expert on specific things. It's growing very, very quickly, but a lot of freelancers don't have the right training to make it really work. So they end up just proving their family and friends right by failing at it, but you're not going to be that person. You're going to be that person that succeeds at it. So your family and friends look at you and think, maybe I should try that. Maybe it is a credible option. But throughout the whole process, when they're not supporting you and you don't have the support from all your friends and close family that you want, you have to be okay with that, know how to compartmentalize that and not let that affect your progress. And you need to make sure you don't come from a place of trying to prove yourself to your family and friends, because that's not a good source of motivation. You want to do it because this is something you want to do for yourself. And the next challenge is that you need to be better than most people at setting goals and designing paths to those goals. As an employee, if you want to climb up very quickly and get promoted, you have to be really good at that as well. But as a freelancer, you have no option but to be really great at that, or you will not be able to build your business. You have to know how to set goals, you have to know how to create a path to those goals, and you have to know how to hold yourself accountable in your progress in pursuing those goals, and know how to track your successes along the way so that you don't give up. I want you to take the time to write what your reasons are. What is your why? Because those reasons are what's going to keep you from giving up when you hit walls, when you hit challenges. And that why, my why, is the reason why I came back to freelancing after giving up after the first attempt. And it's what got me through the learning curve much quicker. And it's what kept me in the game when things got hard, because I didn't have certain skills that I needed to have to make it much easier. And so I would review your reasons very often whenever you feel discouraged.